I'm Ashton Addison for Crypto Coin Show, and today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Solo Ceesay, CEO of Calaxy, here to talk about social platforms, content creators, taking back the reins from the traditional social platforms that are taking all the monetization, all of the platform where you don't really own your fans or your content. How can we change that through decentralization and Web3 and so much more? Solo, welcome back to the show, and thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for having me, man. It's always a pleasure.
Definitely. I know there's some huge I saw with Calaxy. I'm looking forward to diving into it. I'd love to start off with talking a little bit about what you and the team have built at Calaxy. What is the social platform and what makes it different? And then we can dive into all the latest updates.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say for us, Calaxy at its core primitive functionality is a crypto wallet built with a user experience that we think scales to audiences outside of the world of crypto. If you think about the technology that's built in crypto right now, it's really built around the vehicle of speculation, wallets and dexes and connecting and swapping and all these things that are just not intuitive to the average person. They don't have a use, and there's not really crypto is great. You can speculate on outcomes, which people are starting to see, like as the early adoption of apps, maybe like with a sort of decentralized betting markets and things like that. Obviously trading and speculation on coins and attention, that's interesting. But those products are really what are being built for those specific use cases, which is a tough barrier to entry for most people in the everyday world. And so our mission has always been about trying to find ways to build decentralized technologies that scale and solve real world problems. And so partnering with the likes of the HBAR Foundation, Hedera as a blockchain network, that we, early got into bed early with. They, with the push to push RWA, real world assets, real world use cases, we see the creator economy as a huge underexplored opportunity for good reason, right? Like it's a very centralized world. There's a lot of big power, big tech in there, and the bar of, the degree of difficulty to build a consumer app worth using is super high. If you think about Instagram, you think about TikTok, these are some of the best computer software, apps that we run. So to try and put that on chain and make it feel nice and fun and move in your hand is very difficult task. So our company has been spending a lot of years refining that user experience. We're really proud with it. Are proud of it. And the release of Worlds really was that final step in decentralization from the product perspective. There's obviously going to be more things that we do and more behaviors we add on chain, but the large major kind of wow factor of it is really allowing a content creator, community manager, anybody that has access to a following to really own that following and monetize and control that following on their own terms. So really trying to build Satoshi-like principles into the products we use, which is true decentralization. I think the problem is everyone's trying to decentralize the same things, and we over-index on things that aren't going to scale to larger audiences.
Yeah, no, I think it's a position to be in that type of platform. Everyone inside of crypto and Web3, they're looking for, and investors as well, they're looking for the next killer app that can bring in millions or billions of users. And what better industry than social media is the top. There's all of the top social media platforms have billions of users. If we can make that perfect concoction where there's a crypto wallet or decentralized functionality with a social platform that takes off, this app could be the key to bringing everybody on chain without a focus on crypto. But of course, I think that there's huge benefits to having a wallet that has digital assets in it in a social platform, which we're not seeing in any of the social platforms right now. Maybe they're not ready, but I feel like the time is coming very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you eloquently stated that, because I think when you look at the traditional landscape, it's the Web 2.5 model, and like we used to say that last cycle. I don't know if it's really popular anymore, but like the concept of really getting usability principles into the tech that we build, and we really try to take an Apple-esque approach, even though we are by no means the size of Apple or anywhere near as resourced. But I would say that, for us, really thinking about Steve Jobs and working with the end consumer and the user experience and then working back to the technology. You have to start there and really build an app worth using. And so for us, our goal has always really been to build a good app, period, not just a good crypto app. And I think that's what a lot of people in the industry have focused on. It's like, wow, I could do this with crypto now. Amazing. But it's like, what does that get you versus, oh, wow, my life is better because of this new crypto thing. Like it's a slight nuance and pivot of thinking that leads to dramatically different outcomes. And so I think for us, it's really about building that user experience and like I said, building a good app, period, and using decentralization and those principles to fix problems in front of us versus, trying to create problems to solve with the technology that we've already built, right? Like that's kind of the problem with our industry.
Yeah, I like that approach, and I agree. I've used the Galaxy platform and looked into the wallet as well. And you really do, if you're going to make an application that's going to reach hundreds of millions to billions of users in a social aspect, it can't have all of the crazy functionality that some of these crypto wallets have in the open with different chains and bridges and swaps, all these things. It really confuses people and turns them off to it. So I do like the current layout of the wallet, and I think it's important because, especially for content creators, they love creating content, but especially those that have a full time job, they need monetization as well. And it's great if you're getting any funds for your content, but I would much rather have it in a wallet that I control, that I don't have to pay funds to PayPal or the bank transfer, all this stuff. And
100%.
it's going to be so much easier when we have a digital asset wallet in social. But there's that balance that to make sure that it has the experience that you're talking about without having too much functionality or the appearance of too much functionality that scares people.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really going back to just solving for the market demand, right? Like I think there is a huge market demand for decentralized banking options amongst retail people, even out the West in the States. Like I think there are people that would want to bank themselves if they had better user experiences. I think people are starting to wake up to the true ethos of decentralization and understand it from like a core, my life has now changed, like the increased views of censorship and that kind of stuff in the country and the education around those things, which we just had been, really oblivious to in the West for a long time, especially in the States. And so I think, we're like you've mentioned, the opportunity is coming, but it must be tastefully done. And like for us as a bar, we've always wanted to really make sure that whatever we ships, it's great and it's fun to use and it feels like a fun product. And that's the hard part is there's a lot of alphas, betas, test flights, all these things in crypto, and people really over index on the going a mile deeper in the crypto niche versus trying to think about, hey, does this user experience even make sense from like a philosophical standpoint? Like if you could choose to do anything, would you do that? Like, do you think Satoshi thought the end crypto wallet would still work like it does today?
Mm-hmm.
Or would he have thought that, or they have thought of this being a different type of, user experience altogether? It was just the concept and the ideologies that are super valuable, obviously. But then, I think it's on the industry to take it forward and really solve real world problems. And Bitcoin has done a great job of that. Obviously, I think in the grander scheme of things, I think people can argue about the technology and all these things, but I think if you truly understand the purpose of it and what it's meant to represent, and the problems it's meant to solve with things like hyperinflation and like the inability for people to build wealth over time, it does a great job at those two things. And I think there's a huge market for that. And I think there's a lesson to be learned there. And so finding a way to create that, that super app, if you will, is another way to look at it too, just because Elon and X, they're trying to build a lot of the things that Calaxy does, right? Like the things of being able to send money back and forth to someone or spend, money on the platform to buy something, right? Like merchant and all that stuff. And it's a lot harder to build that from the Web 2 vertical because you're becoming a bank in doing that. But when you're a wallet, you're the opposite of a bank and you're able to allow people to make these types of engagements happen in an easy, way. And so like there's a whole world where Calaxy becomes popular because it's like the easiest, most fun crypto wallet to use, like a Venmo or a Zelle, right? Like it could be that.
Mm-hmm.
But it could also be because a creator like, maybe Joe Rogan comes here and he's like, you know what, I don't want to be on Spotify anymore. I'm going to go direct to consumer and launch my own app for my podcasts. Like that could be cool too, right? Like I think for us, we've built such a large platform that abstracts away the complexities of blockchain and really surfaces them up. And because blockchain as a core, ownership as a core, pillar is so powerful. I think when you service that up to the creators, I think you're creating a completely different paradigm from, what exists in social media right now. Like people in social media are creating for the algorithm. They're all starting to look and sound and talk the same. That's the point of an algorithm. It's conforming people to ideals, whereas there's dangers in that. Whereas worlds is really the opposite of that. People that are going to have popular worlds are going to be people that are celebrated for being different, which is what being a creator is
Mm-hmm.
about when you think about it, right? And that's the importance and power and decentralization.
That's amazing. And I wanted to hone in further on content creation in general because nowadays everyone is a content creator, whether they're just posting family photos or they're being an influencer with millions of followers. And there's a lot of issues in the traditional mainstream social media platforms. You're right, maybe they're not creating what they want because they're trying to figure out the algorithm and maximize views based on whatever code is in the back end of Instagram that says, this is what should be popular. Let's try to do whatever they want. And then as well, the accumulating followers, and then your account gets flagged or banned for some reason. And now that connection between you and your fans has been severed. You just lost all of your progress and all your connection. And there's many other issues as well, but those are two that I can think of. Can you talk about the difference in why content creators would want to use a platform like Calaxy and Worlds as opposed to a
Yeah.
traditional Instagram, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think and I say a lot of this stuff because I think social media as polarizing and as, varied the outcomes can be per people, right? There's a lot of people or, a growing percentage of people that have concerns about the mental health issues and all these things now that we're 15, 20 years into it. I think like I mentioned, there's a lot of different varied outcomes, but I will say that I think from a communication standpoint and a world connectivity standpoint, yes, there are concerns about how things are policed or how things are unregulated or regulated or influenced or controlled by the parties that be. I think it has been a huge, major, human like achievement of humankind, right, of mankind, to be able to talk and converse and interact and cooperate and collaborate. Sorry, as easy as we can do from how far we are away from each other. And so I think that's a marvel, and I still think there's great power and distribution power of traditional social platforms. So I'd say from a content creator's perspective, I don't see Calaxy as competitive with Instagram or Twitter. We're not trying to be those things at all, actually. I think we are, trying to be the home or hub or, essential spot for a creator to really, like I mentioned, or like you talk about, build their own sort of hub or their own sort of community away from the platform where they can really be themselves with their community. They can monetize themselves within their community. They can mobilize their community. There's an NFT ticketing feature that's coming soon. I see a world where an artist stays independent forever because they built a large tribe in their world and they're going on tour and doing shows and making that stuff cool again, versus having a record label tell you what you're worth and obviously exploit the artist. So I see there's like I mentioned, I think that Calaxy is one of those unique tools that isn't built for the corporate consumption that is like a traditional social platform at this point. The algorithm is heavily directed by the stakeholders and the overall objectives of this group. And if you think about shareholders and maximum profitability and all these different types of things, that heavily impacts like what the end product needs to be for advertisers to be on the platform and all these things. So that's going to end up trickling all the way down to what impacts like a creator's ability to do something. And so I think for us, it's really about trying to solve that, and create that home away from home, so to speak, where creators can feel comfortable and complete control. And it's a tall task, right? Followers are everything to creators, right? And so we want to create a hub that, it's tough because these people view them as their lifeline, which they are. These people being creators view their audience like their lifeline, as they are. So that's why we spend so much time building the user experience and the platform capabilities we have to really, make sure they're in good hands when they bring people to their world.
Definitely. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing more people that aren't in crypto use the platform, and then all of a sudden they see the benefits of the crypto wallet, or even just sending stable coins. They don't have to be investing in small market cap coins or Bitcoin even. Just sending stable coins to other creators and to their fans back and forth. If their fans are paying them directly, I know that's a great monetization feature
Yeah.
that I love as a content creator on Calaxy, and no other social has that. There was a huge announcement at South by Southwest. I had the honor of being there as well, and that's South by Southwest it's barely crypto, it's everything. But I think social and content creators is a huge part of it now. And I saw in person, Calaxy was there. You announced $1 million grant or fund for content creators on Calaxy. That's huge. I don't think any other social or engagement platform has done that before. Can you talk about that announcement, what that means for content creators, and how it works?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to be, selecting and inducting 50 creators of all different verticals from all parts of the world into our inaugural class. And the goal here is really to invest in the independence of creators and really proving out the mission that we're on, which is, giving creators that extra push of support, and resources to really take their content to the next level and professionalize what it means being a content creator, right? Like it's a lot different now, but even when, probably we were in high school around that age, like the concept of like, I'm going to be a full-time, social media person, that was crazy. Now we have a lot of people that do it, but if you look around the fringes, how much has the platform really changed, and like the professionalization of the profession, like has it changed? And I'd say it has, shockingly not, with how many people make their money on social media, and like how fragile that can be, and how, fickle algorithms can be, and how easily you can be, canceled, so to speak, from the algorithm or the people. It's not a way to live and build a sustainable business, right? And I think for us, we're trying to build tools that allow content creators to escape that kind of added dynamic. And it's really about, with Worlds, like the concept of us trying to have this conversation in a noisy restaurant or in a place completely away from everyone, where it's just you and that other person, right? Everyone could be open and have access to that. So you could be in a glass box like Severance was when it was filming in New York. You could literally have a world that's like that up for the public, or you could have a world that's underground that no one has access to unless you give them a code to get in. And so it's really bringing that sort of, parallel from real life into social media, because social media, and we have to remind ourselves time and time again, it's not a representation of real life, and it's not a healthy particular profession in certain ways because of how stressful it can be. And so for us, spending our time with the creators like we have, the fund is really meant to create a robust, diversified group of people that are looking to take their concepts to the next level, and really monetize, content in the, for the first time too. It could be somebody that's really popular, that hasn't really found a way to monetize their content, and it's really about incubating a accelerator and an online social club, if you will, for creators that are, really like-minded and focused. And, this is just the first class, and we're excited about what's to come.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting, and I hope that those that aren't in crypto see this as, not just a crypto platform, just a social platform that allows them to take back their fans and their connections and their content as well. And so with that, is there a focus on any specific industries? For example, sports people can come on, makeup, anybody who's posting any type of content on any social media. Is there a limitation who
Yeah.
the platform wants on
Yeah.
Calaxy?
Yeah, no, we want everybody. I think for us, we see ourselves as one of the few bridge type projects. We see Galaxy as really the bridge to Web 2, like entirely. I think we see Galaxy as iOS for crypto, Like this is the first good operating system attached to on-chain application that is commercial, right? And so I think because of that, we really want our creator class to be representative of that. So like chefs, makeup, fitness, sports,
Mm-hmm.
even trade crypto, if that's, like there's space for that too. There's a lot. But I think, what the industry is really missing and is looking forward to is regular people using crypto and proving out its,
Mm-hmm.
capabilities. Because right now, I think as an industry, as much as there's been progress and we're excited about the new, I guess, not blanketly, but I think people are more optimistic about what this new administration has in terms of an affinity for exploring new technologies and emerging spaces. So I think that should be good for us, and that should, potentially in the next couple of years, we should start seeing more startups have the confidence to really, take on a similar mission like ours to try and make these technologies usable. It's just tough because over the last 5 years, there are only so many people that would have had the risk appetite to dive in when things were as murky as they were.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we want creators from all different verticals, all different age groups. Just want to make sure that we open up the opportunity for everybody and really allowing these types of resources to empower the next generation of entrepreneurially minded, CEO minded creators.
Mm, that's amazing. And you mentioned a few minutes back about, sort of, it feels nostalgic now of when social media wasn't that big, and I think people were, it was the focus on YouTube. Like, I'm going to become a YouTuber. I'm going to make videos, and we're going to make it a full time job. And now it's I think a lot of people were taking it for granted at first, that we're in professional industries. They're like, that's not a job. But now it clearly is. And so
Yeah.
you mentioned there that you don't actually have to already be a major influencer. Like, if you want to be, if you want to start from your job and be a YouTuber, you could start on Calaxy and still apply for the grant. You don't have to have a million followers. Is that right?
No, there are no requirements like that. I mean, I do think for us, the goal is really to try, like, all things are taken into account, like the use case, like what people are looking to do. Obviously, as a platform, we're trying to drive traffic and try and find and identify people with communities. But that doesn't necessarily mean like there's a lot of influencers that don't have a mobilizable like community, right? Like there's a difference between an influencer and creator. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's why we try to emphasize creators, because there are a lot of mid-sized creators that have sub 100,000 followers that really have fans that show up for them and could make use of tools like that. And that's the best kind of marketing you could ever have as a platform. So for us, it's really about finding those really, really good use cases. And so everyone should be encouraged to apply. But obviously, people that have, strong use cases, a strong sense of what they would want to do with those extra resources, and a plan, because that's the most
Mm-hmm.
important thing, is identifying people that have like a concerted plan.
Definitely. So if there are content creators, especially outside of crypto, they want to apply for this $1 million fund, how do they get started in doing that?
Yeah, if they go to the website, there's a apply for the grant link, and it's a quick little survey that people do. But the more thought you put into it, the better. And it's really just our way of getting to know the creators. And it's a pretty involved thing, right? Like, it's meant to be a boot camp that really helps and engage, and really is a mind share opportunity, right? Like, if you're in this class, you're going to meet some really cool
Mm-hmm.
creators from all over the world that are doing really cool, interesting things with content. And we want our brand to be associated with that too, right? Like, imagine if Soho House was still cool, right? Like that kind of concept, but for creators and like a creator network and that kind of thing. So that's where we are with it, and we're excited about the people that we can have joining.
Definitely. I love that part because I think a lot of people, they don't realize the potential and value of networks, especially when you're in a content creator class of like masterminds of content. You're going to be surrounded in good company. So it's more than just, moving to a new platform to monetize your audience. The network has a lot of value in it as well.
100%, 100%, arguably more, right? Like I think, and we as much as we spent on the platform and trying to build and make it nice and fun to use and stuff, at the end of the day, the most important thing is like how people feel, and users and all those things, right? Like, and I think our company wants to we've been trying to put a lot of the work in, but we want to be known as a company that ships good product and does good business by creators. Very simple as that. And so I think this class is a really big monumental step in that. And the release of Worlds is a huge step towards decentralization and putting
Mm.
power back in the hands of creators.
I love that, Solo. And with the worlds, can you talk about that more? I think a lot of people, it might be a foreign concept. They're just used to having a profile and having a feed and posting. So what is the difference with the Galaxy Worlds?
Yeah, so worlds are interesting in that. So you have Calaxy app, which is its own application. It's actually a progressive web app, so you will not find it in the App Store. You go to calaxy.com, save it down to your home screen. Um, and a lot of people don't build progressive web apps because it's just more challenging to build a fun product on web that moves. Like you're dealing with like a Safari browser instance when you're dealing with Calaxy, right? You're not dealing with like the native iOS, product that people usually
Mm.
develop on top in traditional app development. So that made our degree of difficulty a little bit harder. You don't have a lot of those baked in animations. You have to work on those kind of things extra handed. So shout out my product team, Chad and Ryan. They do great work. And really, they do above and beyond with taking, a PWA and really pushing it to the limit so it feels native. Because when we first shipped Galaxy, it didn't necessarily feel all that native. It felt still like a little bit web-like, and now it's starting to feel like a damn good regular application. But Worlds, like I mentioned before, is about community ownership and complete control and self-sovereignty. And so each creator on Galaxy can create their own world, which is their own community, kind of like a Discord or like Twitter communities, if you will. But each of these communities are installable apps within themselves as well. So
Mm.
you could create a world and then have that world be an installable app because it's also a PWA itself. And you could fire that link out to your friends, put it in as a link into your bio. And now you can sort of usher people from your audience directly to your world. And when users come in, they sign up, they create an account for that world, which is still a basic Galaxy account, and they can go from world to world and discover Galaxy from a creator's world. A world can also be discovered within Galaxy. So you have this back and forth sort of user experience. I like to equate it to like Rick and Morty, where you have the portal gun that Rick has, and it allows you to go from dimension to dimension. And your portal gun is your Galaxy account, and each world is its own dimension, controlled by the creator and whoever lives there. And you're visiting their home space, or you may not have access to because
Mm.
you don't have the credentials. You may not have an NFT in your wallet. You may not have been invited. You might not have the money to pay on a subscription basis, whatever it can be, or it's just open and you can hop in and see what's going on. So it's really about creating that online social club, if you will, for creators that allow them to really take ownership of the relationships they have.
It's very cool, Solo. Uh, I think there's part of the future of social media, and people are waking up, especially with the monetization as it gets harder, that they're looking for new ways to monetize. And I do know that I've tried out Galaxy, and there's a lot of different little functions in there that aren't on any other social platform. And of course, the creator fund of $1 million is really nice as well. With that announcement that has happened in the last couple weeks here, is there a limited time frame until that closes or they're chosen? Obviously people should probably jump on it right away, but what are you guys looking at in terms of the
Yeah.
urgency of us applying?
I'm pretty sure it's done on a rolling basis, and I'm saying pretty sure because obviously we're a pretty fairly large organization at this point, so I don't have all the details in front of me. But it's the TLDR of it is a rolling basis, and we're looking to announce a good cohort or the entire class by South by Southwest London. We had the announcement at South by Southwest in Austin, and so that's essentially like the skinny on that. Hopefully, it will be exciting to see all the different types of creators that we get in and stuff. And yeah, because it's rolling, it's probably better to be at it sooner than later. Your odds just get worse as time goes. But yeah, I would say that that's a little bit about that on the program.
That's amazing. Well, I'll be looking forward to that South by Southwest London announcement. I'm going to also put the original announcement from South by Southwest in the show notes below. And for people that want to follow along with the other updates for Galaxy and learn more about it and get on the platform, as well as applying for the $1 million fund, what is the best way to stay on top of all of that?
Yeah, I'd say our X account is like the most current with updates. We're also getting big on TikTok because that's where the rest of the world lives. TikTok is, not the crypto Twitter echo chamber. So, we want to be a project that's known outside of crypto. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole point. But yeah, I'd say Twitter is a really good place. Like I said, we ship updates there all the time. We just released a new update for chat yesterday. So chat's got a huge facelift. It's meant to feel like a iMessage experience. You have replies in there, emoji reactions, audio messages, GIFs. You have a lot of cool stuff that just got in the chat manager as well. So that's gonna be a really big part. So like chat is where most of the code for the app lives. You can, like I said, send requests for fan creator relationships, send crypto. Soon you'll send USD as well, memes, pictures, videos, GIFs, audio messages. It's a very textured messaging experience. Like imagine if your WhatsApp can now send crypto. It's basically
Mm-hmm.
the directive we had. Lots of things to come there. But yeah, Twitter is the easiest place to stay up to date with the release stuff and our website is, and then also on TikTok, we're getting more active there.
Love that. Well, I'm gonna go check out the TikTok, see if you guys are doing any dances on there, and all that other fun stuff outside of crypto, which I know is super important for adoption of Web3 platforms. I think the killer Web3 blockchain app, people don't won't know it's built on blockchain. They won't know. They'll
Yep.
just see they're sending funds through the social,
Yep.
and they're finding new ways to monetize, and importantly owning their own content in their own worlds. So, wishing you and the team at Calaxy all the best, Solo, on continuing to grow this. Congratulations on launching this $1 million fund. I'm going to put the details in the show notes below and check that out myself as well. And would love to follow up again in the near future.
Awesome. Thank you. It's always great being on the show. Super excited.